All right. What time is it? It's about 3. We have 2 people in the chat here on stage, so we're looking good. Let's maybe give it a minute. Get a few more people in here. And that actually, hold on. Let's see if I can get some more people to join up. Oh, I got taps on. All right. Let's see. Who else? Who else are we getting? Hey, it's good to see you. All right. We message everyone online. Let me message some offline people. Go ahead and message everyone. Why not? Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. All right. And my computer is now asking me if I'm human because it seems like I'm just spamming everyone, which is fair. So we have 3 people. I'm going to call that good. I think we're ready to start. So let's go ahead and get started. I will turn my camera on here in a second. I'd like to clarify that I took fashion advice from Ace. So if I look stupid, blame Ace and me for listening, I guess. All right. I gotta make sure I have everything. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and start this show. All right. Ta-da! It's the flag. Hello, and welcome to the show. My name is Red Wolf. I'll be your host today. This is me. If we get 10 people, I'll definitely take the mask off or whatever. COVID. All right. So let's get this baby started. I don't want to waste anyone's time. I want to clarify. I have my camera here, but my computer is over here. I have my phone recording so you can see what I'm pulling out of the leather folder and whatnot. So if I'm looking over here, it's because I'm trying to make sure. Oh, the mouse. Can't forget the mouse. I'm going to be looking over here to, operate the computer, what have you. And then I'll be trying to look here, but I apologize if I'm looking this way. I really feel like a live streamer. Maybe I should start a Twitch channel. I've gotten a DM from Crucial. Oh, he's at work. Okay. I was able to read that. So, let's get started. First things first. Thank you, all 3 of you. I know there's more people, but they're not available right now. Thank you for accepting the summon and making it to the summit in general. I'm aware, actually, all 3 of you have not been. Well, Tika has been in this early. It has been years in 2 cases since you guys have been like official members. So it really means a lot that you summoned the call, and especially all 3 of you. The circumstances of this summon for everyone was it means a lot that people still came and accepted the summon. And where it's not that much, but it still means a lot. It really shows that when we said in the code, once a werewolf, always a werewolf, it was meant. So, let's go ahead and get started. So, first things first, I'm going to pull out from my little folder here. I'm going to pull out the agenda. All the documents are posted in the document channel, so please feel free to check that out. I'm going to close this bad boy back up. I'm going to set it over here. So, first things first, gotta make sure you can see this. Oh, now I just feel like a teacher with one of those documentary cameras. And this is upside down, I realize that. So, opening, I'm just giving you the introduction and saying thank you all for showing up. And I apologize for scheduling conflicts in such short notice, but this should only take 15 minutes at most. I'm hoping that we actually get through this pretty fast. So, opening up my folder again, I'm going to grab the second thing from this little folder right here. And that is the introductory. So I'm just going to run through this very quickly. And yes, I am blind. So I'm going to pop these on. Please don't bully me. Oh God, I'm wearing a mask with glasses. This is not going well. Okay. All right. I look like Albus Dumbledore. Let's begin, shall we? So we have our Stridulfsmoot information manual, or the Summit information manual. It's very professional. So first, I'll read off the introduction. I'll just skim through this really quick. My brothers of Stridulfsmoot. It has been 3 years since I founded this organization. It feels like yesterday we were just kids getting a few weeks off of school because of the COVID-19 virus. However, we are no longer kids. Most, if not all, members of Stridulfsmoot are maturing into adulthood. We are at a crossroads as an organization and as an entity. We as Stridulfsmoot are our family. We have faced many things in our history. We have faced heartbreak, challenge, reform, destruction, new beginnings, uncertainty, rivalry. Our family has been tested and beat all challenges presented to us. The list of challenges we have faced goes on. However, now we face the ultimate challenge. The future. We as a family must decide what we will be in the future, what Stridulfsmoot will be as an entity, who we will be as a family. This decision is not just to be made by me or the council. This is the decision that I believe is so important, being that it's deciding what Stridulfsmoot will be, that all Stridulfsmoot members are summoned to vote in the decision making at the Stridulfsmoot, which is what this is. This is our future, our course going forward. And we as a family must make the decision as a brotherhood. Signed, yours truly. So, quick table of context. The first page is just what the Stridulfsmoot Summit is. And then after that, I'll be going over what decision we need to make and information on the Stridulfsmoot, what you are. So, I need to stop looking over here. I need to start looking at the camera whenever I'm mentioning you. So chapter 1, reading with Red Wolf. All right, the purpose of the summit. The purpose of the summit is to summon and gather all the members of Stridulfsmoot possible. There are 110 documented Stridulfs. Obviously, not that many Stridulfs will successfully be summoned for the summit. However, the aim is to summon as many Stridulfs as possible so that all possible voices can be heard from the Stridulfsmoot family. All possible Stridulfs are being brought together at the summit to make the decision of Stridulfsmoot's future. The summit can be thought of as a reunion of sorts, getting all possible family members back together to come together and make a decision for the future of Stridulfsmoot. We didn't have the best turnout, but that's okay. So the summit schedule. As you can tell, we have our current schedule right here. The summit is lasting 5 days. This is day 2. And I think you've already read through the schedule, so I won't waste your time in reading through it again. So, this is the first session, and the first session will be recorded as it is currently being recorded, and it will be posted to YouTube for archival purposes. As you can tell, a lot of people are not here, and so we want to record it so that they can be up to date tomorrow, or if they attend, or if they vote in general. So I will not be after tomorrow. At the end of this meeting, we will be scheduling our tomorrow's session for when we're going to do that, but it has to be before 3 p.m. After 3 p.m., I will be leaving for Camp Merriweather, which is the name of the infamous camp you've probably seen. It's where I first flew this. I'm going to take these glasses off. I look like a grandpa. Why did none of you tell me that I look like I'm about to commit tax fraud whenever I have these on? Okay, taking these off. But I first flew this flag at Merriweather. It's symbolic. So I will be gone. I will not have service. I will not be able to partake in the vote. And I will not be able to influence any decision. So whether or not Strofer continues, I will be raising this flag, and I will either be raising the flag on a new future for Strofer or raising the flag for the last time. It's all up to the Stridulfsmoot. And I will be back Sunday. Votes will be due at Sunday at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. After that, it's done. The final result will be announced Sunday at midnight. Right now, if any of you present have potential courses of action, please make sure you have those drafted up and you're ready to present them to be motioned for approval. Let's see, what else? The Stridulfsmoot will have the option to discuss with each other all day Saturday. However, it is requested that members of the Stridulfsmoot not declare what they will be voting for. You will be asked to vote anonymously and keep your vote choice to yourselves. Remember, you are completely fine to discuss with each other. I encourage you to discuss with each other what you're thinking about and what your opinions are on what you're thinking you're going to vote for, but do not declare what you're going to vote for. We want to avoid the herd mentality. Finally, the Stridulfsmoot. The Stridulfsmoot is the meeting of all Stridulfs present, so everyone. It is headed by me, the chieftain, mainly to inform the Stridulfs as well as hear the voices and answer their questions in the lead up to voting on the decision, which is what this meeting and tomorrow is for. Moot is a traditional Old Norse term for meeting, usually for folk moot, the meeting of the people. The Stridulfsmoot, the meeting of the Stridulfs, is a full meeting of the Stridulfs to make an important decision about Stridulfr as opposed to just a council meeting. I think I've expressed that I didn't want this to just be a council decision, so it's everyone's decision. Chapter 2. What the decision is to be made and what decision we need to make, which is why we're here. As an organization, Stridulfr was founded 3 years ago on March 13, 2020. Throughout its history, Stridulfr as an organization has struggled with its operations and maintaining these operations for the simple fact that real life gets in the way. Over the years, the members of Stridulfr have grown and matured into adulthood. Mainly, the members of Stridulfr have grown out of most of what Stridulfr is. Because of this, a decision needs to be made about what Stridulfr will be in the future, what Stridulfr will do going forward in the future. The decision is to be made now. As the current course of Stridulfr is going on now, it's not working well. The ship of Stridulfr is at sea. Right now, it is slowly adrift on a vague route. The Stridulfr summit is where Stridulfr sets its course and raises its sails. Make no mistake that no action is going to immediately come. This is just deciding what will be done going forward into the future. Please keep this in mind. No immediate action is going to come from any actions voted on. Any actions that we choose will not be immediately done. I myself still have a very busy schedule and summer is coming up. So no immediate action will come, but action will come eventually. This is setting the course. So the courses of action. All potential courses of action will have their own manuals explaining them for the best comprehension of the Stridulfsmoot members. Every course of action will be discussed and fleshed out at the Stridulfsmoot. New courses of action can be proposed with a motion. It must be seconded, and if approved by at least 3/4 of the Stridulfsmoot present, it will be added to the list of possible decisions and options to be chosen by the Stridulfsmoot. The options will be discussed by the Stridulfsmoot members at the Stridulfsmoot sessions. Only one course of action can be chosen by the Stridulfsmoot. So, in this binder right here, I have in another folder all of the courses of actions that are currently on the table. Now, again, if any of you have potential courses of action that you wish to put forward, please, I advise you, I encourage you to. All you have to do is whenever there will be a time as printed on the agenda, there will be a time to propose them. You can propose them, and if someone seconds the motion, we'll take a vote. And if 3/4 approve, it will be added to the list. So, a quick overview of the courses of actions that we have now. The Longnar Voyage. This is the big one. A long voyage, but a profitable one. Roblox operations will be sidelined entirely, as they have been, and Stridulfsmoot operations will focus on business, branding, so on and so forth. Stridulfsmoot will be a business should this course of action be chosen. We will be making profits, selling products, as well as heavily marketing to become a brand, a culture. To learn more, we're going to read the manual in a bit. Money will be put aside for the continued growth of Stridulfsmoot, with an end goal being to hire a professional development team to create a Stridulfsmoot Milsim game on the Unreal Engine 5. We will be focusing on our community and our brand, possibly doing podcast content creation while working on the brand, so on and so forth. But we will not be doing Roblox anymore. However, there is a possibility later down the line. I have to stop looking at my computer. There will be a possibility later down the line of maybe having someone start up Roblox operations again, but it's a big maybe, and it won't happen for probably a year. So that's our first course of action. It's the big one. It's turning Stridulfsmoot from a Roblox milsim to a actual business and a brand. And it's going to be the last thing I talk about because there is a lot to talk about. So, course of action 2, steadfast course. The steadfast course is remaining on the course that Stridulfsmoot has been on for the past few years, focusing on the Roblox milsim aspect of Stridulfsmoot. We will be attempting to make it work by recruiting younger members, since our members are growing old, and continuing the efforts to recruit NCOs, Shield Masters, officers, so on and so forth, until Stridulfsmoot can run itself and be self-reliant, and then we'll focus on business. The steadfast course is basically doing the same thing that we have been doing. So that's our second option. Our third option. Stop looking at the screen. Our third option is disbandment. I'm going to make sure that you can see the paper. Disbandment. With everything facing Stridulfsmoot, maybe with the uncertain future, every story comes to an end. Perhaps the tale of Stridulfsmoot ends here. It doesn't go on to be anything more than what it is, and the story ends with our Stridulfsmoot unanimously agreeing to disband and retire. So that's our third course of action, disbanding Stridulfsmoot. Keep looking at the computer. Now, it's not on here, but there is a fourth option of retirement, which is basically just becoming a small group of friends, not doing any operations or stuff, but just staying up to date with each other as we go through life. Now, decision making. The final decision will be made by the Stridulfsmoot. Majority decision. The chosen course of action will be announced at midnight on Sunday, May 21st. Other courses of action may be approved, but after I depart, there will be no new courses of action accepted. Votes must be cast by 10 p.m. Sunday. That is when voting closes. So, on to our last chapter. So, this is the Stridulfsmoot pledge. Now, if we were in a normal voice chat, I'd ask you guys to repeat it or whatever. I'm not going to ask you guys to repeat anything. But this is basically what you're agreeing to as members of the Stridulfsmoot. I, a member of the Stridulfsmoot Brotherhood and Family, former or current, do hereby pledge to give my unbiased, truest voice in the decision of the Stridulfsmoot, to determine the future of Stridulfsmoot by the voice of its men, a unified voice I am a part of, and I will be true to. For Stridulfsmoot, the family of Stridulfsmoot, the brotherhood of Stridulfsmoot, I will speak true my voice in the decision. Now, as for your conduct, again, do not publicly declare or privately. Don't tell people what you are going to vote for. You can tell them what you're thinking of voting for, but we want to avoid the herd mentality. And we want to avoid people just voting to be part of the majority. So, you will remain silent until called on to speak. There will be times for a Stridulfsmoot member to speak. Manners maketh man. Be proper, be polite, mature, what have you. So, that is the introductory, and I promise it goes faster from here. So now let's move on. So I'm gonna put this back in my fancy little folder, and we'll get on with our courses of action. So I'm gonna read off the courses of action as quickly as I can, and then after that, there will be an option for you to make your comments or your questions, and I will do my best to answer them. So let us begin. So put that over there. All right, course of action 1 will be read last. So I'm gonna put that to the side. All right, can you all see? You can see mostly. So course of action number 2, steadfast course. Quick introduction. After 3 years, the option does remain to continue steadfast on the course we have been on, to not alter our course but maintain it, and double down to find success on the course we have been on the past 3 years. Though we have tried before, we can try again until we succeed and develop new operations and initiatives to reach our goal on this current source. So, chapter 1, the reasoning for choosing steadfast course. Stridulfsmoot, we have known past success on the Roblox platform. Great success. It can be achieved again, and it can be sustained. Though it is attempting the same thing that we have been doing for the past 3 years, and it's only a possibility that can work. It's possible. It has potential. But staying on the Roblox platform and revolving our business with the Roblox platform can find success eventually. It is possible. Possible. Now, what is steadfast course? So, steadfast course is a course of action that will not see immediate action as most other courses. Should steadfast course be chosen, Operation Hail Odin will be resumed and put into place for Stridulfsmoot. Operation Hail Odin will be the first action taken. Stridulfsmoot communications will be transferred to a new Discord server owned by a two-factor authentication holder account. Immediate priority is the trial reform, recruitment, and training. Once Operation Hail Odin is completed, Stridulfsmoot of Vietnam will be the next order of business, focusing on the Shieldmaster Corps, recruiters, and NCOs. Following the completion of those operations, Stridulfsmoot will focus on its social media presence and exposure. After all this has been completed, and the Roblox Milsim aspect of Stridulfsmoot is running smoothly, then Stridulfsmoot will move into business and profit selling merchandise and training courses. The steadfast course is remaining on the course we have been on. We will continue Roblox operations and focus on Roblox operations. Business is still the plan. However, business will not begin until the Roblox operations are running independently and smoothly, something that has been a goal for over a year. Essentially, Stridulfsmoot will continue trying to succeed with Roblox operations and Roblox operations alone, as we have been for 3 years. Essentially, it means we will continue our efforts. After hitting a wall for over a year, Stridulfsmoot will continue its effort to break down the wall until the wall is broken. And so that is course number 2. Course of action number 2, steadfast course. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns from the Stridulfsmoot? We're actually doing decent on time. If there are any questions or comments, please feel free to raise your hand and you will be called up. Going once. Going twice. All right. Sold. So, no questions about course of action 2. I will put this. I'll put this over here. All right. This is a tough one. It's a tough one to read. Stridulfsmoot course of action number 3. Disbandment. This is the third course of action presented as an option for the Stridulfsmoot at the Stridulfsmoot Summit. This is the most drastic option, the most extreme. This is the decision to disband Stridulfsmoot, to end it as a group and as an entity. This decision is the end of Stridulfsmoot's story, the end of Stridulfsmoot. A great story has been written for us, and it will always live on in the heart of its members. It shall always be a memory of those who were part of it. But perhaps it's best to stay that way. to remain just a fond memory. Perhaps Stridulf's story has been written, and it has been completed, meaning now is the time for the story of Stridulf to end. Now, reasoning for this course of action. With everything that is facing Stridulf and has been facing Stridulf, with waning recruitment, maturing members, increased real-life responsibilities, everything that the Roblox platform throws at us, all the challenges and difficulties, perhaps it's best if the story comes to an end. An appropriate time to call it good and retire. Stories must end. Maybe this is where ours end. Should the Stridulfsmoot choose this course of action? Now, what is disbandment? This course of action is the only one with immediate effects and actions taken. As an organization and as an entity, we will be disbanded. Payment for the website will not be renewed. No new members will be accepted into the Discord or Roblox group. The Roblox group will be made private with no one accepted. Stridulf will cease to exist and permanently cease any and all operations or activity with no revival. It's the end. The Stridulf Council will be disbanded. Assets may be put on sale to the general public, with most of the funds going to the Norwegian embassy, our closest allies. Stridulf will private most of its game on Roblox and will completely cease to exist. Members and veterans of Stridulf may create their own units or startups together. However, they may not fly the Stridulf flag or unit insignias. They may use Stridulf assets and similar designs, but they may not use the same name and flag. We will be disbanded everywhere in all of our fields that we occupy. All social media accounts will be disabled, but the Discord server will be kept for archive purposes, but not monitored or anything of the sort. So that is course of action 3, which is the disbandment, the permanent disbandment of Stridulf. Now, course of action number 4, retirement. Stridulf as an entity doesn't need to either. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns about course of action 3 from the Stridulfsmoot? I gotta sit up straight. Fix my posture. Going once, going twice. All right, no questions or comments or concerns for disbandment. Now, course of action number 4, retirement. So, Stridulf as an entity doesn't need to either become something new or cease to exist altogether. Retirement is an option, not disbandment or continued operation, but retirement of Stridulf and all its members. Now, what is the reasoning for retirement? Stridulf need not entirely disband, if nothing else. Stridulf can just not take the drastic action or make the toughest decision. We can just slip into retirement, a fair and honorable course, a retirement with honor, after a well-lived story. What will happen if we retire? All operations will cease. Our website will not be renewed. The Roblox group will be closed. All our operations will permanently cease, and we will become a small group of friends and family in a Discord server or connected on other social media platforms such as Snapchat, Instagram, or text messaging, staying up to date and in contact with each other throughout the course of life taken by all Stridulf family members. We already have a Snapchat group chat. I'm not sure if anyone here is a part of it. So that is our 4th course of action. Now, are there any questions about course of action number 4? Oh, yes. Hold on. I'm trying to see. Okay. Invite to speak. Okay, let me make sure that I can hear. Hold on.
Hello?
All right, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, so for course of action 4, if I'm understanding this right, this is basically a disbandment, but we still get to talk to each other, correct?
Correct. It's basically disbandment, but instead of just like completely ceasing, we still stay in contact with each other on social media platforms and whatnot.
Okay, just had confusion there. Sorry to bother.
Oh no, don't be sorry. Is there anything else that you'd like to ask?
No, not yet. I'll wait until we get through all the courses.
All right, perfect. I'm gonna put you back in the audience. Thank you. All right. Now, with all those courses out of the way, time for the big one. First, I'm going to read my DM from Dauntless. Okay, he's unavailable. Cool. All right. This is the big one. So I strap in. Um, strap in. This is saved for last for a reason. All right. Stridulfsmoot, course of action number 1, the Long Nar voyage. Okay. Now, let me open this binder back up, actually. My nice vanilla folder. Eyebrow raised. Oh, God. Okay. Introduction. This is a plan that I have been envisioning for almost a year and a half. I have thought it over almost daily. I've weighed the options and made plans. I've spoken on it, and it was referred to as a pipe dream by Clay. I love you, Clay. Realistically, it is a long shot, thus the name Long Nar Voyage. Nar was a type of Old Norse vessel designed for both war and trade, designed to make long and difficult voyages over vast oceans. However, the ships sail to good destinations, to success. This will be a long shot, but if we make it, we can make it big. It will be a long voyage, but we can make it. We can find great success. I believe in this course. I know it can be done. I know it can bring greatness to Stridulfr. I truly believe in this course for Stridulfr. That is my personal opinion. Now, there are 3 chapters to this, which is why I said buckle in. So chapter 1. All right. The Long Nar Voyage. Reasoning. We have been on the same course for... See it. We have been on the same course for years, attempting over and over to break down a wall on a tired platform with a member base maturing and no longer interested in Roblox Milsim. Stridulfr has great potential that can be achieved through great effort and change, that can be achieved with the Long Nar Voyage course of action. Stridulfr faces the greatest enemy, time, in the future. With time, Stridulfr must change and must adapt to continue in the future. Stridulfr can either stay the same or, with this course of action, evolve to bigger things, greater things, to become something greater. Become a legitimate entity, maintaining the family, keeping the brotherhood together, and moving on to these great things. Now, what is the Long Nar Voyage? The Long Nar Voyage suspends Roblox operations as a whole. All Roblox-related items on the website will be put into archive channels. The Roblox group will be made private and will not accept new members. However, Stridulfr will move on from Roblox and move on from being a Milsim unit. Instead, we will become a brand, a business, heavily focusing on social media presence and content creation regarding the culture and brand of Stridulfr, as well as business itself, profitability, and revenue. The goal will be to create a culture and a brand of Stridulfr, an image of Stridulfr. Stridulfr will move to a new Discord server owned by a 2-factor authentication holder account. The old Discord will remain for archive purposes. The new server will focus on a community server for the business and the brand. Roblox operations do have potential of starting up once more, possibly in 2024, under a selected company officer. The goal of the business is to maintain a brand and an image as well as succeeding in profitability and revenue. Eventually, the goal is to hire a professional development team to create a Stridulfr military simulation game, though this will take years. In the meantime, Stridulfr will be a community, a business, a brand, still maintaining its goal of preparing military and tactical resources. Now, chapter number 2. This is where it gets interesting. So, save questions for later. Stridulfr.co, Stridulfr Company. What will the Stridulfr Company be? Stridulfr Company will be formed as a company entity with Stridulfr VMSS, Virtual Military Simulation Service, which is what we're branded as now, being made a division and a subsidiary of the company. Stridulfr Company will begin as an online company with no physical address. The company will offer Norse and military-themed merchandising, as well as an online library of resources of publicly available military and tactical literature, all in one place. Stridulfr will also sell manuals on tactical subjects for less than $5 digitally and possibly hard copies. Stridulfr will reopen its Betrisik program, available for a cheap price to register, but free to existing Stridulfr members. Stridulfr will also aim to generate revenue from its social media presence, partnering with small media companies such as Volk Socials to generate profits from social media. The Stridulfr community, as it grows, will be given platforms and potential funding for projects such as podcasts, content projects, social media endeavors, so on and so forth. Stridulfr Company will partner with affiliate creators who promote Stridulfr as well as a small cut of creator revenue, extremely small cut. Stridulfsmoot Company will be an online company at first, focusing on these subjects as well as creating a brand and image through social media presence and branding around Stridulfsmoot's values, code, and law to create a culture, such as brands such as Young LA. Now, the big question that everyone's probably going to ask, I'm going to take a drink for this. Jeez. Hold on. I need to choke for a second. All right. What is the business plan? Ladies and gentlemen, this is what you have been waiting for. This is what I've been taking business classes for. Majority of all funds will go straight into the company and its finances, mainly savings for goals and such. The money that the company makes goes to the company. A cut of profits will go to the chieftain so that the chieftain can run Stridulfsmoot Company as a business and make it his occupation, as opposed to giving time to another occupation. This is basically so I can actually continue to work on it and run the business so it can succeed without giving time to something else. Stridulfsmoot Company profits will be saved up to purchase a property for a headquarters. From there, with continued growth and positive revenue, Stridulfsmoot will be able to expand as a business and hire officers to fill positions such as Chief Marketing Officer, Chief Financial Officer, Chief Legal Officers, Chief Community Officer, Chief Military Simulation Officer, so on and so forth. With the purchase of the headquarters, Stridulfsmoot will also look into diversifying its products and so on and so forth, with most likely entering the military surplus market. This being the founding of Stridulfsmoot Company and its primary business model. Stridulfsmoot Company will reopen its virtual military simulation service with a chief officer and a team of professional developers based in the headquarters. Stridulfsmoot members will be heavily involved in the decision making of the company. So I'm going to elaborate on this really quick. So right now, if we choose this option, what's going to happen is that we are going to cease Roblox operations. We will move into becoming a company entity. Excuse me. And from there, we're going to focus on selling merchandise such as clothes, hats, maybe flags, and what have you. And we're also going to sell virtual copies of military handbooks and all of that, and having a resource library of free available stuff. This way we can still maintain that we're preparing people and giving people resources to prepare for the military, and even as a community we can help that. But we will be selling merchandise and book manuals and what have you. We will also be creating our own manuals, which will be sold for dirt cheap. All of this will also be, the sales will be helped by our culture and our brand, because, for example, with Black Rifle Coffee Company, you don't buy a Black Rifle you don't buy a BRCC shirt just because, oh, you like their coffee. You buy it because having a BRCC shirt is kind of like being a part of something. It's part of being a community, a brand. It's an image, and that's what we're aiming for with Stridulfsmoot. To have an image. And so that's where our sales come in for merchandising. Now, for about a year, it'll probably take a year or two, we'll be completely virtual, selling everything virtually. From there, when we have enough money, we will buy very cheap real estate for a headquarters. I'm talking dirt cheap, because we're an online company. We will be buying a headquarters, and it's in whatever city, honestly. But we'll be buying a headquarters, so we have a physical location, and from there we will probably be able to legally register as a company, most likely as LLC to avoid tax breaks. I've really put a lot of research into this. But after we focus on our virtual revenue, we'll buy a headquarters, a physical property, and at this physical property, government contracting and government surplus sites sell a lot of surplus military gear for dirt cheap. I also have contacts with a surplus store here in Portland that are more than enthusiastic about selling a bunch of stuff off in bulk. And it's on brand with Stridulfsmoot, and there's a lot of money to be made, especially with our branding and our image and what have you. Now, After we have a physical location, after we have our revenue from online as well as our physical location and selling military surplus stuff, we will hire employees and we will be able to pay employees to have an actual working company with employees who are paid, who can make a living off of this. And so from there, we're going to expand and grow as a business and as a community. We're going to grow and hopefully diversify more streams of revenue, with our final goal being that, we have a professional development team make us a game on the Unreal Engine so that we have all of our streams of revenue. And then we have the virtual simulation. It is a solid business plan, and I truly believe in this. Now, will Stridulfsmoot ever be the same? Eventually, the Stridulfsmoot Virtual Military Simulation Service Division will reopen, meaning returning to how Stridulfsmoot was as a Roblox group, with battalions, ranks, so on and so forth. It will return to the same as it was. However, it will not return to Roblox. It will be on a platform made by Stridulfsmoot for Stridulfsmoot. Once more, it is possible that we reopen Roblox Milsim operations under a Stridulfsmoot officer within a year after Stridulfsmoot Company has been soundly established as a company. Stridulfsmoot members now will become members of the company as well as its community. Members will be granted exclusive privileges, deals, discounts, products, so on and so forth. So, Chapter 3 is an extension. Now, I want to clarify. This extension is when you vote, you can vote for Course of Action 1 or Course of Action 1A. So Course of Action 1A, everything I just talked about still stays the same. But Course of Action 1A is that with everything the same, I'll just read it off. With Course of Action number 1, a lot of us may want to have some resemblance of militarism and not just be a community. To still have units, battalions, ranks, and whatnot. Just becoming a community with no militarism, no ranks, no units, nothing of the sort may not be the path that we all want. Obviously, this militarism will return with the virtual military simulation service, but that might not be for years. Thus, this Course of Action 1A is created as an extension and can be voted for alone. Course of Action 1 can be voted for without the extension of 1A. So what is 1A? The course of action maintains and stays the same as previously mentioned and explained in this document. However, on top of that, Stridulfsmoot maintains militarism with its member corps. Members of Stridulfsmoot hold rank and are members of a unit. Ranks are earned and advanced by meeting requirements in fields such as physical training and tactical knowledge or skill, meaning members of Stridulfsmoot rank up by meeting standards and criteria in different militaristic fields in real life. Units could be based on time zone. This system would essentially be similar to the patristic program, and by reading the resources made available by Stridulfsmoot and passing knowledge tests, completing training, or whatnot, members will be able to advance in rank. There would still be no milsim, but structure would remain for members. There would also be leadership academies for officer ranks and NCO ranks, maintaining everything previously discussed, but adding on to keep Stridulfsmoot member structure and militarism without the milsim operation. So that was a lot, and I believe there will be questions. So, with this big course of action, do we have any questions, comments, and concerns? Raise your hand, and I will bring you up to speak. All right, Sarti. All right, sorry, you're good. I invited you up to speak. It says invite to speak, right? Okay, it's being weird. Take your time. While I wait for Sarti to get on, I will say, yeah, it definitely is a long shot. But we can make it. We definitely can. And eventually we can hire more employees. So if people stick around, we might be able to hire people. All right. Yeah, go ahead and speak in the chat. I can read them over here. You're actually doing really good on time. Also, while he's typing, a quick heads up. Uh, at tomorrow's meeting, if we get about 10 people, I won't wear them or anything. Where I'm just trying to get as many people as possible. But okay. So Astardi has asked a very good question. How do I intend for the rest of Strofer members and just everyone at Strofer, to assist me in the goal of Stir becoming a business? And that's a very good question. So as I mentioned here, Strofer members will be members in Strofer regardless of the extension, but mainly sticking around as community members, contributing to the community, and that's the main thing, just for everyone. Sticking around as members of the community and participating in discussions and updates, and really just being an active community member in general. Now, support is appreciated. I want to clarify one thing. I'm not a money hungry person. I really don't value money that much. But I'm never going to sit here and say you can only contribute if you buy stuff from the store. That's not true. Contributes and what have you financially are much appreciated, but I'm not going to ask for that from any of my members. So what you can do, and what I'm mainly intending for the wide Strofer member base to do, is stick around with the company as members in the community, and from there they can get positions like, moderating the community, managing the community, and stuff like we were going to do with Strofer originally. Just, people who take care of the community and participate in the community, just being community members. However, with growth of the company, I mentioned employee positions earlier. Now, but we won't be able to pay employees for at least a year. Conservatively, we won't be able to pay for a year. And in the meantime, until we can start paying people, a lot of people can take up volunteer employee positions, such as community management. Or one thing is that since we're selling merchandise, we do have paying positions, actually. Strofer members, people in general, can be employee or kind of freelance employees with creating designs for our merchandise or helping write tactical manuals that we sell. And I believe we will be opening up social media team positions so that people can be a part of the social media team. And when social media starts to bring in revenue, they will be getting a majority cut. So the way to answer your question simply, because I know I've gone on, but staying around, being a community member, and maybe volunteering for some stuff here and there, just being a part of Strofer and staying around and being there for the community is how the business will be supported. And from there, maybe volunteering for some stuff is extremely appreciated. But for really dedicated people who are going to stick in for, years, like through college or whatever, what we're going to do is when we do open positions, we're not going to start, I'm not, as the guy who's kind of trying to start the business, I want to keep it small in terms of our employees. I don't want to have a big pool of employees, just a few people, a small team, because I want to be able to pay SOFR employees as much as possible to give them a good, a fair living, so they can, good living. I want to treat people right. And that's hard with a big pool of employees and a lot of money being spent. So we're going to keep a small amount of employees. And the reason I bring this up, as Stridulfsmoot members, when we start opening salary-based positions with yearly salaries and paying and all of that, first pick, and out of everyone who applies, Stridulfsmoot members will be the first to be chosen, especially if it's some member who's stayed around. Like, for example, you three in this chat right now, if in 3 years one of you applies to be chief of marketing or someone chief of the merchandising division, if one of you applies for an employee position, you're probably going to get it, regardless of if you have college training or not. If you don't have college training, Stridulfsmoot will pay. I am looking into giving scholarships. There is a whole lot. There is a whole lot for this. There's a whole future. And I truly believe in this. And as members, I want everyone to stick around and just contribute to the community. And I really do want to eventually bring people in to be employees. I think that would mean a lot, to be able to hire former guys I used to play Roblox with this group to be employees and pay their bills and help and give them a job doing what they enjoy. So sticking around for as long as you want, and just sticking around in general, even if you don't want to volunteer, even if you don't want to do anything for just kind of sticking around and updating us every now and then, just kind of just being there. That means everything. Sticking around is more support than I think I can really express. So, I'm gonna invite Tika to speak. Astardi, did I answer your question? I'm aware it was kind of a long answer. Okay. Let me invite Tika up to speak. Okay.
Now, my bad.
Sorry?
Is it working? My bad. I was like making sure everything was working.
Yeah, it's working now. I can hear you.
Okay. So for what I'm understanding is for paid positions, it doesn't matter if you don't have the experience or not, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so how would it work for people who do have financial experience and everything?
Okay, so experience is valued, and we want people to have experience. If you were to apply, if you don't have financial experience, but you were a SOFR member and you applied for a financial position or whatever field you apply for, as a company, we would try to if you don't have an education, we would try to finance as much as we can. We would finance, try to assist in financing your education. That way, we can provide you with the education, and you can come work. Because if you're staying around for that long, you've already proven your dedication to the company. You've already proven your dedication to the family, and so I'm more than willing to set aside more than like a couple grand to train a very dedicated employee to help with the company. So to answer your question, yes, we do want experience, but if a member applies and they don't have experience, we will do everything in our power to get them that experience. But if there's a position and all the applicants have experience and none of the applicants are members, then it defaults to who has the most experience. But members are going to get the first pick because they've proven their dedication, and dedication, loyalty, what have you, that's a big value to have as a small company. So if you don't have experience when you apply, if you're a member, we're going to try to get you the experience, try to get you the education, and do what we can to help you out so that you do have that experience and you can give us your best work in the position in the company, if that makes sense.
Got it. Also, another question.
Go ahead.
Is there also like a difference between the amount of experience you have? Because for high school last semester, I did economics and financing and government and everything, but mostly economics and personal finance and all that. Does that like affect anything compared to like as a first year college student, something like that?
So I think if you know what you're doing, then you should be good. The main thing that I'm going with is it's a bit unorthodox and it may be a bit dangerous, but I want to provide the opportunity. So if you know what you're doing, if you've taken economics, if you understand markets, if you know what you're doing, and you do this and you get put in a position, if you succeed in the position, that's it. So regardless of your experience, yes, I think in a lot of cases we would want college, but if it's one of those things where if you know what you're doing, you're good. So if you have the experience of high school economics, I'd say that's pretty much good enough for us because we're preparing for people for the military. College is hit or miss, and yeah. So if you have the knowledge is what's most important, not experience. If you have the knowledge of what you're doing, that's what we look for. You don't need to have prior jobs. You don't need to have 6 years of experience before you can come work for us. You just need to know what you're doing and take it from there. No experience needed. You just need to know what you're doing, and that's pretty much it. As long as you're a member. If you're not a member, you should have you can kind of bet your ass that if you're not a member, if someone has a better education and more experience, we're going to choose them over you. That's just basic how to run a company. But if you're a member, you're dedicated, you're loyal, we'll figure it out for you. Don't even worry about it. So you said that something about high school economics. If you have high school economics and there's some guy who's applying with a college degree in economics, but he just showed up out of nowhere, I'm gonna choose the Stridulfsmoot member because dedication and loyalty, and most of all, this is for Stridulfsmoot. That's the name of the game: family and brotherhood. Does that answer your question?
It does a lot. And also, this is more unrelated, but would there be an investment program too in the future, like say 10 years from now when we get a steady economical inflow coming?
Yeah. So there are a lot of programs that I'm hoping will come from the company, and one of them is definitely I want to create a scholarship program. Because with you mentioning, the economics and I forget the wording they used, but like economic and was it income research? What did you say?
Oh, asking like, would there be investment opportunities? Say, like, we get enough funds, we invest into something and increase our funds.
Oh, yeah. I was actually thinking about that, and I was gonna put it in here, but I didn't. I think at some point it would start being a very, very small chunk of monthly revenue, probably when we get to headquarters, would be invested. Um, and we would hopefully make paybacks on that, and we would get dividends. But I wouldn't trust funding entirely to the financial division,
Right.
and yeah. But yes, there will be opportunities. It may take a while, but once we start earning a big, a big amount of revenue, I want all of the money to be put to use. So if there's like an excess of money, we'll figure out what to do with it, and most of it will go to investments. It all depends on how long it takes us to grow. But once we grow to that point, yes, we will have investment programs. We will invest. We will probably invest in small startups, and assist them. And yeah, when we have enough money and we have enough revenue, there will be investment opportunities from the company.
You let me know when that does happen because I know how to like semi play the stock market and everything. Not only just the stock market, but like mutual funds, et cetera, small businesses.
Perfect. The stock market is a
Pretty risky road, but I know how to like play it out a little bit.
hey man, all I'm saying is that my first thing in the market, my mom had control over my credit card and she bought Disney. That was 5 years ago and it still hasn't gone green. So it's hit or miss. But I understand what you're saying. And when we get to that point, I will definitely be contacting you. And just stick around so I can contact you and I
I'll
can.
stick around for sure.
All right, perfect. I'm hoping everyone sticks around, but especially someone like you who has knowledge and talent. You can definitely be most likely guaranteed a position at the company when we're able to start paying employees.
Got it.
All right. Any other questions?
Uh, for the voting, when it comes down to it, are you allowed to vote more than once for each preposition or no?
No, everyone will get one vote, and the majority will. So whichever gets the most votes wins.
Got it. Understood.
All right. Anything else?
That answers all my questions. Thank you.
Perfect. Let me pop you back in the audience. All right. Now, okay. Are there any final questions about our courses of action? Gotta check the chat. Okay. So, if there's any final questions, you feel free to raise your hand or put it in the chat. However, oh, okay. Here. Invited to speak.
Sorry, I forgot something. Will there actually be debates over this stuff, like with everyone, or no?
Yes. So at tomorrow's meeting, I'm hoping to have everyone actually take part in discussion, and hopefully we get more people tomorrow. But there will be a discussion. Hopefully tomorrow. But tomorrow I'll be leaving, and I'm hoping that all of Saturday is used for people to discuss. And there is a discussion channel. I think you should have access. But on Saturday, everyone will have access. And throughout the day, I encourage people to use the discussion channel or the Stridulfsmoot channel to discuss what's happening. Um, I can. I was planning to try to call a meeting, or say to have a meeting on Saturday, but I'm not gonna have service, so I can't enforce it. I can say everyone, get in the group, get in the voice chat, and talk on Saturday, but there's no guarantee that anyone will do it. But yes, use Saturday to discuss your options and debate and what have you. And hopefully that happens tomorrow and Saturday. And you can use Sunday morning to discuss. But discussion will
Right.
end. Yeah, discussion will end at Sunday at 9 Pacific Standard Time because voting ends at 10.
Okay, got it.
All right, perfect. So yeah, I also decided that it would be best for me to go because as the chieftain, I feel like I feel like I would still have some amount of influence if I said, "Oh, I'm voting for this." I worry that someone would be like, "Oh, well, he's voting, so I'll vote for it." That goes for everyone. I don't want someone to think, "Oh, well, my friend's voting for this, so I'll vote for it too." I want it
Thinking we could do a system. Go ahead.
like a system. You go
A
ahead.
system where like we can anonymously vote. So that way that won't happen because that's what has happened in the past with another group I was in that was not military related, nothing like this, but that happened and yeah.
Yeah, no, and I completely agree. I'm looking into different voting platforms and systems because I want to make sure that it's secure and it will be anonymous. I'm making sure that it's anonymous. All right.
Because I know there is still some people here besides you that still have influence on some other people here, and yeah.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that, but just in general, influence or not, there's a reason that, you're not supposed to tell people who you voted for in the U.S. And in the honor society that I got elected to be a chief for. When we run elections, no one is allowed to speak because we want people to make their own choice and not be influenced by others. So it's going to be anonymous, and I did
Right.
ask everyone that they don't speak about what they are going to vote for.
I've done trial before, so I know how all of this works.
Yeah, but yeah, does that answer your question?
Definitely. Thank you once more.
Of course. And don't be shy to raise your. This goes for everyone. Don't be shy to raise your hand. There's no limit to how many questions you can ask. There are no stupid questions. Don't ask me how babies are made. I don't know. So I'll go ahead and I'll move you back to the audience. All right.
Got it.
All right. So we have another question. Let me sit up all straight. From hold on. From Riz above. Yes, Riz above. Okay. For the business choice, what would you say the minimum age would be? And if there is a very low minimum, would you care on skill level on basic business and economic skills? Your Dan's brother. Hey man. So for minimum age, I think this is gonna be a company decision. I'm not sure with the company. I am thinking of having sort of a council, like a board of directors, but I don't like that term. We're gonna call it a council because we're cool. But it would be a decision of the community, actually. If not the council, then the community, because 16 is minimum legal age for a lot of states. And I think it's federal, actually. Because at 16, I started washing dishes at Sherry's. Yeah, I was a professional dishwasher. No, I'm not a whoop. I'm not gonna say that. Not gonna say that. I'm better than that. Anyways, yeah, 14 is also a minimum age in a lot of states. I think I'm gonna keep it at like either 15 or 16 because 16 is about the time where. So when I was 15, I was first able to staff at a camp, and one of my bosses told me one of the greatest pieces of advice that I'll get, and he told it to my mom actually. He said they get better when they turn 16, and I thought that was BS. I thought I was fine, but then I turned 16, and I was a lot better, and I feel like that's I feel like 16 is a good age because 16 is around the time when you start to become an adult and you start to, you're getting your driver's permit, you're getting these responsibilities. In a lot of cases, you start paying taxes at 16, which is horrible. I don't want to pay taxes as a teenager, but I feel like 16 is going to be my personal opinion is going to be 16 will be a good minimum age for company employment. But that can be changed by the company policy, by the council, and by the community. But I think we're going to keep it at 16 for minimum. And then let me make sure answered your whole question. And yes, we would care for skill level on basic business and economic skills, because we don't want to put someone in a position of responsibility that our business relies on and take a chance of them fumbling the ball because they have no idea what they're doing, and then as a business we start to fail, we start to lose money. We're going to be very careful with hiring, which is why I say, I'm not just going to sit here and say, oh, if you're a member, you get a job. No, we're going to make sure that you get education and experience and that you know what you're doing. So it's going to matter if they have the knowledge, if they have the training, if they have the education. Experience, I'm going to say, if it's a member, experience doesn't really matter. As long as you know what you're doing, you've been educated on it, you've passed, if you know what you're doing and you're a member, then you're good. If you're not a member, you better have an amazing education, and maybe I think if it's a non-member, experience is going to matter. Again, if it's not a member, we're going to traditional company hiring system, which is whoever has the highest education and the most experience, the best resume, firmest handshake, what have you, with a position where all the applicants are non-members. So, yes, minimum age will probably be 16 or somewhere around there. Education will not matter for members because we will try to give you an education, pay for it, scholarships and all that if we can. But for non-members, education will matter, or experience will matter. And yes, Tika is right. Federally, it is 15 in the United States. As of right now, I think the business plan is to buy our headquarters that we buy will be in the United States, most likely. In my dreams, I have thought about buying dirt cheap property in Iceland. Oh my god. Yeah. I've dreamed about it. It's probably not gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna be a goal. Because it's gonna be a lot simpler. But we'll look into it. Once our revenue starts getting to that point where we're actually looking into properties, we may look into Icelandic business law, property law. We'll look into it, and it all depends. But as of right now, minimum age is going to be 16, at least, most likely. Education, what have you. But it's all going to depend on, what state we end up in or where we end up as a headquarters. Because I think wherever you are right now, where you can work 14, if we're headquartered in a state where you can't work until you're 16 and you're 14 and you're employed by us, we can get legally screwed, and lawyers cost money, money. Yes, take business classes or two, and definitely expand your skills and expand your knowledge. I definitely want to give opportunities. I want to give opportunities, so definitely learn, and you'll get some experience here. And if after you've worked at the company for a while, and there will definitely be massive corporations that are going to pay you 5 times anything that we can pay you. And when you choose to move on to that, we're not going to have hard feelings. We'll be happy for you because we gave you the experience so that you can move on in life. So yeah, take business classes. If you get a position here after those business classes, you can work while you're in college or whatever, and then you can move on to bigger things. But stick around in the community if you do. Ideally, a republicly driven state like Texas or something that doesn't mind groups like ours and will still serve cheap land. Amen to Texas. I thought about Texas solely because we actually have multiple members in Texas, and also I was thinking of Wyoming or Montana, because if you've ever seen that place, hear me out. I know it may not be economical, but imagine a headquarters that was just a log cabin in the middle of Montana or Wyoming. Just a log cabin. I like it. It's probably not what's going to happen, but I like it. That's just me, though. Yeah. Oh, also, for buying property, I was going to bring this up. For a lot of we're actually going to be using the government a lot for government surplus, and the government sells its stuff off for cheap. I saw a plot of land the other day. Yes, I'm looking at plots of land already. Plot of land for 3,000. Like, it's not that big, but 3,000 for a plot of land is not that bad. And so yeah, we can definitely get good deals wherever we end up. Again, the decision of where our headquarters will be is the decision of the community or the council. And we'll make it work. We'll do everything that we can with the resources that we have available to us. For Maine, for a log cabin, my girlfriend actually has a log cabin in Maine in her name. So I mean, foreclosed and seized land. Yep. Oh yeah. Heavily watched. Well, we're not selling arms or anything yet. Maybe we'll see how it goes. I do want to have. If we have an office, gentlemen, if we have an office, we will have an office dog. I don't care about the community or the council in this matter. We will have office dogs. I am making a declaration. We will have office dogs at our headquarters. But then that concerns me, because if we do end up doing anything related to firearms and we're being heavily monitored, I don't want the ATF to kill our office dog. That's my only concern. Okay. Yes. Speaking of pictures, yes, we are. That's definitely something that we're looking into. We want to have pictures because for branding, we need to have pictures. Mainly, I want community members to take pictures. I don't want to hire some actor or a model and do a whole photo shoot, because that's not real. Well, I want to get pictures of our members in the field camping, doing whatever that they take themselves. I don't want it to be staged. I want it to be real. So yeah, if you have that cabin and we choose to get together and take pictures there, I'd love to do that. I'd love to have people in the middle of doing middle of the outdoors, doing whatever, wearing our merch. That's the type of photography and marketing that we're going for. I don't really want to stage it. We will not do any photography. We might do some photography in a studio, but very little. I can barely breathe in this. I was planning to go without a mask, but then we only got 4 people. Stage is the best photography, and that's why whenever it comes to taking pictures for our merchandise on the page and stuff, we are gonna do stuff, just in a normal studio so they can actually see the merchandise. But for branding, whatnot, when you go to every camping gear brand name just slipped my mind. But if you go into the North Face, if you go into a North Face store, their pictures are of people, in the middle of the woods hiking, not just pictures in the studio. Also, for Colt, who just joined us, we are talking about action number 1, which document can be found in documents. Okay, we're doing good on time. Okay. So I understand that there will definitely be a lot of questions, not just from you guys, but from everyone in general about the course of action number one. And so it will be brought up again tomorrow. I'm hoping that people watch this YouTube video whenever it gets uploaded so that they're up to date. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask in general or in Stridulfsmoot. I'll do my best to answer them. But I think I'm going to go ahead and say that we've answered questions and gone through comments for Stridulfsmoot course of action number one, which is the big one. Okay. Before we dismiss, we have two things left on the agenda, which, as you can see, is right there. Yes. So here at the bottom, we have. All right. So, is there anyone who has a course of action they would like to propose to the Stridulfsmoot? Any courses of actions? Currently, we have Longnar, which is the business and everything. We have Steadfast, which is doing what we've been doing. We have disbandment, which is ending permanently, and we have retirement, which is just being a group of friends. We have those four options. Any alternate courses of action? No? All right. So that means we save time on course of action proposals. Now, second session planning. So I'm not sure if this time will work best for a lot of people tomorrow on Friday. I'm thinking maybe doing what do you call it? Here, let me invite Tico to speak.
Okay, so I do have a session planning suggestion for time wise. So for Central Time, I say starting at 6:30. When most people either come home or people like starting to end dinner. 6:30 to like probably 7:38 would be a generalized like normal time for a lot of people, especially on Friday for this majority of the group, especially if we're on the US.
I agree. Is that's 2 hours ahead of Pacific Standard Time, correct? Yeah.
I can look real fast.
Mountain Time is 1 hour ahead, so yeah, I think you're gonna be 2 hours ahead. I would agree. However, I will be leaving by 3, so I'm more than happy to start a social session, and you guys can hold all the discussions that you want. I don't think I'm gonna give everyone permission to ping everyone. Please don't ping everyone in general. But you guys have every opportunity to get people together for meetings whenever in this server up until Sunday 10. So yeah, even after I leave, please feel free to have discussions. There's an entire voice channel just for you guys. This is your decision. Take all the time you want in discussing, even after I'm gone. But I will have the Stridulfsmoot maybe around I don't know. I think I might have it around 1 or 2 my time, which is going to be 5 for you, and there's a decent amount of people on the East Coast and in Europe, so for them it's going to be in the late afternoon. But after that, again,
Right.
feel free to talk whenever you want. So, are there any? So we'll have it tomorrow at about 1. Are there any questions?
What happens if somehow we reach a tie?
Then we will have a second vote.
Would that be on the same day or no?
Uh, we will have a second vote probably on the same day.
Got it. Okay, that's all my questions.
All right. I'm going to send you back to the audience. With that said, that is all that we have on the agenda. Thank you all for your time. If you have any questions, ask in Stridulfsmoot or in general. And that is all. Thank you all for attending. This Stridulfsmoot session is dismissed. I will see you all tomorrow. See you.